your cortisol goes up. When cortisol goes up, blood sugars get more angry. When blood sugars get more angry, you're on the roller coaster, you're frustrated, you're annoyed, and what ends up happening? Your average is higher, you don't feel as good, and you have to be chasing it constantly and feeling like you're never getting off this ride and it's never going to end. Those are all a great recipe for exhaustion, which then just feeds into the loop more, higher cortisol, etc. So we don't want that. 0%, 0 out of 10 want that. So how are you going to make sure you control some of that? Well, are you taking time for that self-care? Activity is going to help, like we talked about before, but are you taking time that's carved out just for you to take a step back, to decompress, to breathe? Maybe you meditate, maybe you journal, something like that to just keep your brain focused, but also keep your stress down. Welcome to the Your Diabetes Insider podcast, where we take all of the mysteries of blood sugar control, focusing on nutrition, exercise, and any of the other 40 plus factors that may impact your blood sugar. If you don't know me, my name is Ben Zeal. I'm a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator, strength and conditioning coach, and I've lived myself with type 1 diabetes for over 20 years, and I am here to share everything that I have learned in both my personal and professional experience so you can live that incredible diabetes life. So get ready and let's dive right into today's episode. What is going on? Welcome to this episode of the Your Diabetes Insider podcast, where somehow it is already December, which is wild because this year has felt like a decade for a lot of people that I know. I am in the crowd where it's felt like at least a few years, but there's obviously promising horizons around the corner come January 1st, which is wild. It's only a month-ish away, and it's amazing. But on the flip side, this month is going to be crunch time to determine if you are going to have the success from a blood sugar standpoint in 2026 that you are looking to have, or if you're going to have yet another year of, I have all the great intentions in the world, and I completely gave up on it, and that was the end of it. And if you're thinking, well, what do you mean, Ben? Let me explain. So as you probably know only too well, whether it's from you or from reading about it or from other people, lots of people set New Year's resolutions, right? Lots of people set them. And within usually 2 to 3 weeks, over 90% of people are cooked, meaning, hey, I'm going to set a goal to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to set a goal to have an A1C of 6.5 or whatever the goal might be. And within 2 to 3 weeks, they're done. And they spend the entire rest of the year figuring out, well, I could have had it, but I gave up on the goal and it was too hard and life got in the way. And then the next year comes and it's December 25th or 28th or whatever. I'm going to do this in 2027. And they set the goal. It's the same goal from the year before. And 2 weeks in, they fail. And it's the same process again and again. And suddenly you wake up and it's 15 years later and you're in the exact same spot you were in 15 years before. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to do that. And I don't want you to do that either. I don't want you to be that person that says, well, I have the same goal every single year and it never actually happens for me. And a big portion of that is how you choose to spend the month of December. Because December, quite frankly, can make or break the entire next year. And here's what I mean by that. Because if you and I were running a race, if we're running a race together and I'm running against you and you're like, I got to win this race. If you had the option of, obviously they, shoot the gun and boom, everybody goes off, right? That they start it up, on your mark, get set, go. If you could have a jogging start into the race and when they say go, you can hit full speed, or if you have to be completely stopped and when they say go, then you start to get full speed, what is going to end up faster? Probably if you got a jogging start. You're starting to build some momentum, go boom, and you can just go straight into it. That is the effect of December on your New Year's target. That is the effect of December on what you're capable of doing in all of the next year that's to come. Because December can be that springboard of I'm going to start running and then take off, or I'm going to do absolutely nothing. And even worse in this case, not only do nothing, but potentially set myself back 6 to 8 weeks. Because think about it, right? You've got all the fun holiday things at your disposal. You've got work parties, you've got social gatherings, you've got the actual holiday itself with whatever you're choosing to celebrate. There's all sorts of goodies all over the place. And suddenly you're in this position where you kind of take your foot off the gas, you're coasting. It's been a tough year. You just want to chill, let your hair down. And before you know it, you've set yourself further back than where you wanted to even start in the first place, which means you are then spending the first 6 to 8 weeks of the new year trying to just recapture where you were come the start of December. So for example, and we'll put really easy numbers on this as an example for you, it might be a situation where you weigh, and again, I'm making all these numbers up, you weigh 180 pounds, you don't pay much attention during December, suddenly January 1st hits, you're 186 pounds because you let the treats and some of the drinking and whatever else might be, out and available for you to start to impact you. And then you're spending the first 2 months of the year just getting back to 180. Well, that could have been completely avoided by just doing a little bit of stuff now to give yourself a running start. So not only are you giving yourself a running start, but you're not taking steps backwards. So I guess a better analogy for the race would have been you get a running start, or instead of starting at the starting line, you start walking, 15 meters behind. What would you pick? Well, if you're trying to win, I would pick the jogging start. So a few things for you to pay attention to, because this absolutely, I'm not telling you it has to be followed to a T, but these are things that are absolutely going to help you to ensure A, the fundamentals are on point, but then B, that you get that running start into January. So here's what we're looking for. Number one, and this is easily one of the first things to go for most people, the workouts. And I'm not telling you that you suddenly need to start being this crazy gym rat if you're not used to going to the gym at all. All I am asking for you to do is stay consistent with what you've been doing. Meaning, if you've been training 3 days a week for the rest of the year, continue training 3 days per week. If you're used to getting X number of steps per day, continue getting X number of steps per day. If you decide, hey, I want to, amp it up a little bit, I want to go to 4 days a week. As long as it's sustainable and fits into your schedule, up it to 4 days a week. That is all going to work out great. What happens on the flip side for a lot of people is they say, well, I got to go get those last minute holiday gifts. Well, I got this work party. I can't get my workout in. Well, I've got fill in the blank thing that I can't do. So therefore all of these things will stack up. And suddenly, instead of working out 12 or 15 times during the month, like you usually do, you've only worked out 4 times, if you've worked out at all. And that can make a massive dent in your blood sugars, as evidenced by a perfect example of this would be, this was probably 3 years ago or so. Had a patient, ate the same, 2 different weeks, right? First week, ate totally the same, worked out their normal workouts. Second week, ate totally the same, did not work out. This was not a planned experiment. This was a schedule got crazy. This also wasn't the holidays. It was like the middle of the summer, but they did not work out. They had a 20-point difference in their average blood sugar simply from everything being the same, but just no workouts. That 20-point difference, if we're putting this in A1C terms, is over 8%. Is it over 1%? It's pretty darn close if it's not over 1%. It's 0.8 to 1%. That is a big difference in blood sugar. That's the difference between you being a 6.5 and you being a 7.3 to 7.5, just from not moving your body the way that you have been before. Because remember, you're going to get more insulin resistant. You're going to have to take more insulin. You're going to likely be on the blood sugar roller coaster more often. And your body is not going to be processing things as efficiently because it's not moving the way that it's used to. So that is one major thing. You cannot let the workouts fall by the wayside. So that's one. And again, remember, this is just getting you momentum to be able to fly in to the new year, having your blood sugars in a better spot so you can still continue to build. And if you want to lose weight, whatever, this will help you to not gain the weight so you're not going backwards. Second, and this is a big one as well. This is an absolutely big one. Stress. And I'm talking stress from family members. Whether you got a great relationship or not, family can be stressful. Another source of stress, other obligations. Remember those parties I was just mentioning? Maybe you have to travel. These obligations can be a lot. Maybe there's work stress, end of year things that you have to be doing, or school. You've got finals that you have to be considering. There's a lot of potential sources of stress. In addition to that, sleep can get compromised because maybe you're up late working on something and now you only slept for 4 hours instead of sleeping for 7. That can all start to add up and become a big thing. Your cortisol goes up. When cortisol goes up, blood sugars get more angry. When blood sugars get more angry, you're on the roller coaster, you're frustrated, you're annoyed, and what ends up happening? Your average is higher, you don't feel as good, and you have to be chasing it constantly and feeling like you're never getting off this ride and it's never going to end. Those are all a great recipe for exhaustion, which then just feeds into the loop more, higher cortisol, etc. So we don't want that. 0%, 0 out of 10 want that. So how are you going to make sure you control some of that? Well, are you taking time for that self-care? Activity is going to help like we talked about before, but are you taking time that's carved out just for you to take a step back, to decompress, to breathe? Maybe you meditate, maybe you journal, something like that to just keep your brain focused, but also keep your stress down. Because again, this is going to be a massive thing. And even if this is a newer habit where you're like, hey, I've never actually thought about meditating. I've never actually thought about doing something for a few minutes just to carve out time for myself. This would be a great habit to take going into the new year. So now you've got this already established. Remember, I think it's 21 days or so to make a habit. It might be more like 55. Regardless, if it's 55, you got half of it gone because you've already done it this month. If it's 21, you've already got it before the end of the year. So keep that in mind. Another potential idea. If you're thinking, I don't know how to meditate, there's a book. I didn't even read the whole thing. I read the first 2 chapters like 7 years ago or 8 years ago. 8-minute meditation. You literally just need to read the first 2 chapters. You follow those 2 things, you are golden. It will help so much. You will be very happy. Your nervous system will be much calmer and life will just be a little bit better. Because again, you don't have to spend a long time. 5 minutes is all you really need. That is another thing you have to be paying attention to. Another thing, this one should come without saying, but grazing, and then I might be thinking, okay, well, all this, I don't know, man. Well, think about it. You go to the holiday party. There's all these little finger foods. There's appetizers. Then you have other food. Then you go beyond the other food and now you've got dessert and there's a little bit here and you want a little bit over there. And it's very similar to an extent to Thanksgiving, but this is like almost a perpetual party for a good chunk of December because you've got, the friends' Christmas celebration. You've got your work Christmas celebration. Maybe you have your spouse's work Christmas celebration, your kid's school. It just keeps adding up and adding up. And that doesn't even count the actual celebration of the holiday itself, right? Again, I'm assuming Christmas is a thing. Maybe you celebrate something else. That is okay. I'm trying to just use it as an all-encompassing type of situation here. But a lot of opportunities for grazing. People bring stuff into the office. Oh, I got some brownies. Oh, I got some candy. Oh, I got some, gingerbread house, whatever. All sorts of things that can send your blood sugar to the moon if you're not careful. And if you're not paying attention and you're not fitting that into your normal nutrition life, that can be where the waistline starts to get a little bigger, which nobody wants. So these are situations where that alone can do it. Then tack on, hey, there's the holiday party for everybody's drinking a lot of alcohol. Okay, extra calories, potential blood sugar impact, depending on what's in the drink. You could go up and then come down. If it's straight liquor, you could tank. There's a million things that can happen with respect to that as well. And of course, the extra calories. So there's a lot of other potential pieces. That also, by the way, the alcohol will impact sleep, the amount of REM sleep you get, worse recovery, increased cortisol the next day, dehydration. You see the cascade of where this can end up going. So I'm not telling you don't enjoy the holiday parties, but what I am telling you is consider coming up with a strategy with your care team, with your dietitian, as to how you are going to include that as part of your life without overhauling everything else. Because I can tell you, obviously, I am a dietitian, but when I have a situation like that and I have a, event to go to, I know how to figure out how to say, hey, I'm fitting this in. I'm allocating this much towards this event, or I am deciding in advance. I know the menu. I'm going to have X, Y, and Z. I have my game plan. I'm executing the game plan. I'm not deviating from the game plan. If you were to know the menu in advance and you know that they've got, I'm making this up, a chocolate peanut butter cake, which sounds phenomenal. I'm going to say, great, I'm going to have a piece of that cake. I'm going to estimate what it's going to be, etc. If I then show up and they have a freaking salted caramel donut as well, it sounds amazing, but I'm not going to be like, I'm going to have the donut and the cake just because it's there. Maybe I take the donut home. Maybe I say, you know what, F it, I already planned for the cake. Or maybe I swap out the cake for the donut, but you get the point. I'm not just saying I'm having both just because they're there. I am planning how it's going to fit into my life. And if it doesn't fit, I'm not going to do it. So again, I'm not telling you to not enjoy it. Notice I said I'm going to have the piece of cake in that example. What I'm not going to do is overdo it just because it's in front of me. That is the key here. It's not just portion sizes. It's also paying attention to what that's going to do to your blood sugar. Because those are the 2 things we're looking at is, okay, how can we ensure blood sugars are happy so I'm not on the roller coaster? Because then if you're on the roller coaster, you're having it correct, you tank, you go low, you're eating more calories. That's another way to see the body weight go up. And that's not something we want this time of year. So these are all things that are going to be possibilities that you have to be paying attention to. So again, I'm not saying change everything. I'm just saying what you did to get to this point needs to be the thing that you do to maintain during this time of year. Don't take your foot off the gas. You've obviously heard of, if you watch football at all, 28-3 is a warning for that. But that Super Bowl about, I guess it was almost 10 years ago, which is crazy. But that Super Bowl back when the Falcons were up 28-3, they were doing amazing. They were just dominating the Patriots. And suddenly they stopped having their foot on the gas and the Patriots got a little bit of life. They came all the way back and they ended up winning in overtime. It was absolutely insane. But it happened. And because it happened like that, now every time you say 28-3 to a Falcons fan, they get upset. Understandably so. The same way as a Viking fan, if you say 38-7, I know exactly what you're talking about. Or 41 donut, know exactly what you're talking about. The difference here is you don't want to let your foot off the gas just because it's December. You want that running start into the new year. You want amazing blood sugars, and it's not too late to make that happen. If you are serious, you're like, hey, I've listened to this. I want to get that running start into 2026. I'm serious about it. I know I need it for my blood sugars, for myself, for my family, for my long-term health in general. My team and I are here to help. We're all dietitians. We all live with diabetes ourselves. We all have exercise backgrounds, and we're here. We've got your back to support you. So holler at me on social media. Holler at me at yourdiabetesinsider.com. We are here. We've got your back. We are excited for you. And with this as well, if you've gotten this far in the episode, I mean, you deserve the bonus here. This should be coming out Cyber Monday. So if you apply, today's the last day to apply. If you apply to work with our team through yourdiabetesinsider.com on the application, you are eligible for an extra month on me in terms of bonus month of working with our team. So with that, make sure you get that application in. Let me know what questions you got at Man of Zeal on social media, MANOFTZEEL. And with that, I'll catch you in the next episode, and hopefully you are doing amazing this holiday season.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.